The first thing I noticed was the silence. Not the peaceful kind. Not the calm, comforting quiet you find deep in nature. This silence felt heavy, like something pressing against my ears, swallowing every sound before it had a chance to exist. The forest stood before us like a wall, tall, dense trees packed so tightly together that sunlight barely reached the ground. According to the map, it was called Black Hollow Preserve, a protected area, no roads through it, no signal towers, just miles of untouched woodland. That should have been the first warning. There were 4 of us. Me, Ryan, Leah, and Mark, weekend hikers, nothing extreme. We'd done trips like this before. 2 nights, 1 trail in, 1 trail out. Simple. Ryan was the first to joke about it. "Place looks dead," he said, stepping past the wooden sign at the trailhead. I laughed, until I realized I hadn't actually heard him. His mouth moved. I saw the words form, but there was no sound. "What?" I said. Ryan frowned. I said, "Still nothing." Leah snapped her fingers near my ear. I felt the movement of air, but no snap. Mark clapped his hands once. Hard. Nothing. We all stood there, suddenly aware of it. No wind in the trees. No birds. No insects. Not even the sound of our own breathing. I opened my mouth and shouted. I felt my throat strain. I felt my chest vibrate. But the forest swallowed it whole. Panic crept in fast, sharp and electric. Leah's eyes widened. Mark grabbed my arm and spoke rapidly, but his voice never reached me. I could only read his lips. "Can you hear anything?" I shook my head. Ryan pulled out his phone and played a video at full volume. We watched the screen. His lips moved on the video. Music played, visually, but the forest gave nothing back. Then, as suddenly as it began, the sound returned. A rush of noise slammed into us all at once, winged through leaves, distant birds, our own startled gasps overlapping. Leah screamed. What the hell was that? We all started talking, at once, voices tripping over each other, desperate to prove we could still be heard. "It's probably altitude," Mark said. "Pressure change. Ears do weird things," but none of us believed. Ryan laughed too loudly. "Cool trick though, like the forest hit mute. We should have left. Instead, we stepped inside. 10 minutes in, the trail disappeared. Not gradually, not covered by leaves. It was just gone. The ground beneath our feet was soft and dark, like soil that had never been walked on before. Trees twisted unnaturally, their trunks bending inward, branches tangled together like clenched fingers. That's when the silence came back. This time it didn't leave. Our footsteps made no sound, no crunch of leaves, no snap of twigs. I stomped hard, watching my boots sink into the earth. Nothing. I tried speaking again. My voice vanished the moment it left my mouth. Leah's breathing grew fast and shallow. I could see it, but not hear it. Her chest rose and fell too quickly, like she was running in place. Mark held up his phone and typed a message. No sound again. Ryan typed back. "Stay together." We moved forward, communicating through phones, hand signals, eye contact. The deeper we went, the darker it became, even though it was still early afternoon. Then I noticed something worse. The forest wasn't silent. It was listening. I could feel it in my skull, a pressure just behind my eyes, like something was leaning close, waiting for me to make a noise it could take. We walked for what felt like hours, though our phones said only 30 minutes had passed. Then Ryan stopped. He pointed ahead. A figure stood between the trees, human-shaped, still. I squinted, heart pounding. It looked like a man standing with his back to us, clothes torn, hanging loosely. Mark stepped forward and waved. The figure didn't move. Leah typed on her phone, hands shaking. That's someone else." Ryan approached slowly. When he was only a few feet away, the figure turned. Its mouth opened. I knew it was screaming. I could see the tendons in its neck straining, its jaw stretching wider than humanly possible, skin tearing at the corners of its lips. But there was no sound. Blood streamed down its chin. Its eyes were wide, white, terrified. Ryan stumbled backward. The thing reached for him. The moment its fingers touched Ryan's sleeve, sound exploded. A scream tore through the forest so violently I dropped to my knees. It wasn't just loud, it was wrong, layered. Too many voices stacked on top of each other, screaming through one throat. Ryan fell, clutching his ears, blood seeping between his fingers. The sound cut off instantly. The forest went mute again. The figure was gone. Ryan wasn't he. He lay curled on the ground, shaking violently, mouth moving in silent sobs. Blood poured from his ears and nose. Leah knelt beside him, screaming his name, but nothing came out. Ryan looked up at me. His lips formed words slowly, carefully. It took my voice. Then his mouth opened again. And nothing ever came out. We tried to help him. We really did. But he couldn't stand, couldn't hear, couldn't scream. And then, slowly, he stopped moving. No last breath, no final sound. The forest took him without a noise. We ran. Direction didn't matter anymore. North, south, nothing made sense. The trees shifted when we weren't looking. Paths appeared, then vanished. My phone buzzed. A message. Unknown contact. I opened it. "Why are you whispering?" My blood ran cold. I typed back, "Who ice this?" The reply came instantly. "You're in my mouth." Leah grabbed my arm, pointing frantically. The trees ahead were swaying, not from wind, but like they were breathing. Their bark stretched and contracted, revealing dark, wet flesh beneath. Mark collapsed to his knees, clutching his throat. He opened his mouth wide. I saw something moving inside. Hands. Small, pale hands pushing up from his throat, pressing against his jaw from the inside. He tried to scream. The forest inhaled. Mark's body went limp. The hands retreated. Silence. Leah was crying now, tears streaming down her face, shoulders shaking violently. She typed on her phone and shoved it in front of me. "IT wants sound. IT feeds on IT. Don't let IT hear you." The ground beneath us trembled. A deep vibration passed through my bones, like a growl too low to hear. The forest began to close in. Trees bent inward, branches snapping together, sealing paths behind us. Shadows thickened, crawling like living things. Leah suddenly stopped. She looked at me. Her eyes were calm now, too calm. She smiled, then she screamed. The loudest sound I've ever heard. Pain exploded through my head. I fell backward as the forest convulsed, trees shuddering, soil ripping apart. Leah's scream didn't stop. It stretched, distorted, layered over itself, turning into something ancient and starving. The ground opened beneath her. She was dragged down, still screaming, voice echoing through roots and soil, pulled deep into the earth. The silence that followed was absolute. I was alone. I don't know how long I wandered. Time didn't work there. Eventually, I saw the trailhead sign again. I ran. The moment I crossed the boundary, sound slammed back into me. Wind, birds, my own ragged sobbing. I collapsed on the pavement, screaming until my throat bled. They found me hours later. Search and rescue said they never found the others. No bodies, no signs. They closed the forest 2 weeks later. Official reason, unsafe terrain. But sometimes, late at night, when everything is quiet, I feel it again. That pressure behind my eyes, like something leaning close, waiting for me to make a sound, and I swear, I can hear the forest breathing.